All right. Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Always a pleasure to be back.
And, I gotta say, you really buried me in source material this time.
Oh, yeah.
Tottenham's demolition of Aston Villa, a 4-1 final. I mean, we've got match reports, tactical analyses, post-game interviews, the whole 9 yards.
Well, a game like that, it deserves a good deep dive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know you always say the scoreline only tells part of the story.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, 4-1, that's impressive on its own, but we want to look beyond the goals, figure out what really made this match tick.
So let's get tactical then.
Okay.
Tottenham, they came out in Postecoglou's signature, that high-octane 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Villa, on the other hand, they went with Emery's more, let's say, conservative 4-2-3-1. So right off the bat, what were the managers thinking?
Well, with Postecoglou and that 4-3-3, you can see he's all about that aggressive, in-your-face style, right? It's almost like heavy metal football. Yeah. High energy, constant pressure. Win the ball, hide up the pitch, then bam. Hit Villa with lightning-fast transitions.
Organized chaos.
Yeah, you could say that. But it's organized chaos with a purpose, right? To completely overwhelm Villa in midfield and just create chance after chance.
And Emery, what's he trying to do with that 4-2-3-1?
Well, he's playing it a bit more cautiously. It's a very solid, compact shape. Absorb that Tottenham pressure, stay disciplined, then maybe, just maybe, catch Tottenham on the break with Watkins as that lone striker up top.
Classic counter-attacking setup.
Exactly.
But from what I saw, Tottenham didn't exactly have it all their own way in that first half.
True. I mean, Villa did well to hold their own for a bit, but you could see those cracks starting to show early on,
Wow, really?
Yeah. See, the real beauty of Tottenham's 4-3-3 is how those front three, Son, Johnson, and Solanke, how they work together. It's like a perfectly choreographed dance.
So, give me an example. How does that work in practice?
Okay, so let's rewind to, the 23rd minute, right? Okay. Son, he drops deep, pulls a Villa defender out of position. Johnson sees the space, makes a diagonal run right into that gap. And there's Solanke, already lurking at the edge of the box, ready for a cutback. That kind of movement, that constant interchange, it's a nightmare to defend against. And that's eventually what led to Son's opening goal.
So, Villa's midfielders, McGinn and Tielemans, they're supposed to be pretty solid defensively. But even they couldn't handle Tottenham's attack.
Yeah, they were definitely up against it. I mean, you have to give credit to Tottenham's midfield three, too, Benton Kerr, he was pulling the strings, and they were all so good at finding those little pockets of space between Villa's lines. It wasn't just about the front three. It was a whole team effort to disrupt Villa's structure.
Okay, so now we're seeing Tottenham really start to take control. So let's talk about in-game adjustments. How did the managers react as the match went on?
Okay, so Postecoglou, right? He's all about that relentless pressure. Even with a 1-goal lead, he wasn't letting up. So he brought in some fresh legs in midfield, Skip and Bazuma, to keep that tempo high, keep the intensity up. And then you saw Tottenham's fullbacks, especially Udogie, pushing way up high, almost acting like wingers, stretching Villa's defense thin.
I mean, the pit's big.
Exactly. And that created even more space for those dangerous runs from Son and Johnson.
Smart.
Yeah.
And what's Emery doing to counter that?
Well, he tries to switch things up, Goes to a more attacking 4-4-2 later in the game. Hopes to gain some control in midfield, get some more support to Watkins.
Right.
But by then, Tottenham are really in the groove, It's too little, too late. And the substitutes he brought on, they just couldn't match Tottenham's energy.
Speaking of energy, we have to talk about Solanke. 2 goals in this game. Was he just that good, or did Villa make things easy for him?
Oh, he was clinical, no doubt about it. But you got to hand it to him for his movement, He's not just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. It's not an accident.
So, take me through it. What's so special?
Okay, so watch his first goal. He times his run perfectly to stay onside, ghosts past Mings, and then finishes with this, ice-cold, low shot. It's textbook poaching.
Wow.
But hey, it wasn't just Solanke, right? I mean, Son's goal, that was a thing of beauty, that curling effort from outside the box.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then there's Benton Kerr in midfield. He was like a puppet master back there, dictating the tempo, spraying those laser-guided passes all over the pitch.
Okay, so Tottenham were firing on all cylinders. But what about Villa? Anyone else besides Watkins and Ramsey making an impact?
They had their moments for sure. Watkins, he's always a threat. And Ramsey, he tried to make things happen with his direct runs, but Tottenham center backs, Romero and Dragusin, those two were like a brick wall, just snuffed out any danger that came their way.
All right, so let's rewind the tape a bit. Hit the highlights. What were the key moments that really turned this match?
Well, right from the start, you could feel it. Tottenham's pressure, right from the first whistle, it set the tone. And then once Son scored that opener, the momentum really shifted. And those two goals from Solanke, especially that first one, that really put Villa on the back foot. And then, well, Bentancur's goal in the 70th minute, that was the dagger. Game over. Villa kept pushing, you got to give them credit for that, but they just couldn't claw their way back from a 3-goal deficit.
Right. So zooming out, big picture here, how much did the managers influence this result? Was this a Postecoglou masterclass?
I think you got to give Postecoglou a ton of credit. Tottenham were so well drilled. They executed his game plan perfectly. That high press was suffocating. Their movement was fluid. And his substitutions, they kept the pressure on Villa all game long.
So basically, Emery and Villa, they just had no answers.
They tried. They definitely tried. You know, Emery, he tried to adjust, but Tottenham were just too much to handle on the day.
All right, so let me sum up for everyone listening at home. Tottenham were tactically disciplined. They had some real individual brilliance, especially from Solanke with those 2 goals. And their pressing was just relentless.
Yeah.
Too much for Villa to handle. But here's a question for everyone to ponder.
Yeah.
Would a different formation, maybe a more aggressive approach early on, have given Villa a fighting chance? What do you think? Something to think about.
Definitely.
All right, everyone. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the sources we used. Until next time.
See ya!
See ya.